Sir John Shin, what was something that had to give up to get where you are today?
Oh, that's a loaded question. So I would say that if you want to be really successful, okay, that the most important thing is to be prepared to sacrifice a lot. And those sacrifices are, number one, friends. Your friends don't think like you, and your friends may not want what you want. And your friends are going to say, you're crazy.
Yes.
And it's interesting that a lot of my friends said, why would you want to start a business? That's going to be so much stress. But you know what? It's funny because 25 years late, 30 years now for us, because my wife Arlene and I, we started our business in 1991. So this year we just celebrated our 30th anniversary during COVID. And so it's funny because we are living a different life today. My wife and I, we have an extraordinary life, but my friends who didn't support us are still broke today.
Yes.
Okay. And if I and my wife did not have the courage and the dreams to have what we have today, we might be still with them. You know, it's interesting. We had to stop going out into parties. Okay. We had to forfeit and sacrifice fun for a while. So, you know, a lot of our friends, they want to go to a nightclub, you know, Friday night, Saturday night and drink all night, you know, and I was looking at them and I'm like, you guys, that's what we did when we were teenagers. You know, this is what we did when we were 20, you know, 21, 22. I mean, you guys are like 40, 45, 50 years old now, and you guys still want to go to parties. I mean, at a certain point, you kind of have to grow out of that and realize that your responsibilities change. So yeah, I had to sacrifice my friends. I had to sacrifice my time and having fun. And I had to sacrifice my hobbies. So we all have hobbies and things that we want to do. But like, I love martial arts, okay? So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 4 times a week, I'd go to the dojang for 3 hours. Okay, and practice, right? You know, martial arts and stuff. And I couldn't do it anymore because I had to focus on our business, you know? What else did we sacrifice? We had to sacrifice some family members, okay? Because some of our family members started talking about us, okay? And in the beginning, my wife and I, we were kind of going, it hurt our feelings.
Yes.
Right? Because we wanted their approval. We wanted their endorsement. You know, this is family. Why can't my family support us?
Yes.
Right? And why can't my friends support us? And instead of supporting us, they hated on us. You know what they told my other friends and family? That's like, whatever John and Arlene's doing, it's not going to work.
Yes.
They're going to end up going bankrupt. You know what I mean? Well, don't let me go bankrupt. Call me and said, hey, what can I do to help your business?
Yes.
You know what I mean? What can I be your first client? Can I get you some referrals? Does that make sense? Or, you know, whatever. But to turn around and say all these things that they criticize us, you know, you had to learn to let that criticism in one ear and out the other. And after a while, we didn't even care. Like we became immune to it. Okay. So I would say that business is a roller coaster. You're going to have your ups and you'll have your downs. You'll have your ups and you'll have your downs. But the biggest thing is when you're at that down point, you got to remember what's on the other side and why you even started this.
Wow.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yes.
What is the story behind your success?
The story is, I think, goes back to my parents. Remember, in another episode with you guys, I had mentioned that that my mother kept on saying that we did not come to this country to screw up the opportunity. And so I did not want to let that opportunity go to waste. And so I wanted to, a lot of people say, John, you're like a mama's boy. But, I don't care what they call it. But my main thing before we had children, the most important people were our parents, both my wife's mom and my parents, is to take care of them, because as our parents get older, somebody has to take care of them. Right. And so they're, and I can't, I have too many friends right now that have jobs, but they can't even take care of their parents because they don't have the money. Right. But if they had the money, they could take care of their parents. They can hire somebody. And I've seen some families, some of my friends, where they had to quit their job so they could take care of their parents.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right. So, and then what happens when they quit their job, they had no money. Does that make sense? And,
yes.
these people trying to help everybody, they became a casualty themselves. You know what they say about casual people? Casual people become casualties.
Wow.
So don't be a casualty. Don't take things, too lightly. You got to really focus on what it is that you want. And so I knew exactly what I wanted. And whatever I wanted, I put it up here in my mind. Because I think that our thoughts, whatever we allow into our brain, I call it TFA.
Yes.
Whatever we allow into our thoughts, these thoughts will affect the way we feel.
Yes.
And then how we feel will determine our actions.
Yes.
And then your actions determine your results. And the results are all based on what were you thinking about?
Yes.
Yes.
This is great.
Great. Sir John Shin, what mistake have you made along the way?
I've made a lot of mistakes, okay? A lot of mistakes. And I don't regret any of my mistakes, because every mistake I made and that my wife made us better and stronger. Okay? So what I tell people is, don't be bitter, get better. So when people make a mistake, they're bitter and they're angry and they're upset.
Yes.
When we made a mistake, my wife and I were like, yes, well, that's a big lesson. You know what I mean? So we used it as a way to make us better and stronger and more knowledgeable about everything. So we made a lot of mistakes. But one of the biggest mistakes that I see, that I think we made, was not getting the right people in our circle. You know what I mean? Like you need to make sure that you have a good lawyer. Got to make sure you have a good, accountant. You know what I mean? You need to have some really good, trustworthy people, and if not, you got to be careful, because some people will take your ideas. I have a guy in my company that came in and took all my ideas. I had everything in a book, everything I was teaching in a book. Well, guess what? Because in the beginning, I did not patent my book. I did not, they call it intellectual property in the United States.
Yes.
So you need to put a trademark, copyright, all that kind of stuff. And I didn't do that. And my lawyers never told me to do that. I forgot to even ask. So someone came, one of my guys, he learned everything from me. Then he left, and then he took 500 people with him and started his own company using my book.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So that was one big mistake, right? Especially when somebody comes and takes 500 of your people, that's a nice little hit. Imagine trying to replace 500. Most people don't even know 500 people. I had to replace 500 people that had specialized knowledge. You know, Napoleon Hill says you got to have specialized knowledge, and I had to replace 500 of those people, all because I didn't have a good attorney that represented us and knew how to protect us from these things.
Very, very important what you say.
Okay. What did you have for breakfast today?
Breakfast. I had a shake and I had a pizza bagel.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, the pizza I love pizza bagels. I like bagels with some tomato sauce, mozzarella cheese, some pepperoni, and then I like my shake because I put a banana in there, apple, blueberries, protein powder, all that kind of stuff for all the antioxidants. So it's a good, you know, it's a good breakfast.
Very good.
Good.
If you could start all over again, what would you do differently?
You know, I don't know if I would do anything differently. I think that everything we've done has been a wonderful learning experience. Every mistake we've made, you know, it's made us who we are today, my wife and I. So I'm glad we made the mistakes. I don't have any regret. I think I wish, the only thing is I wish I would have had more kids.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we have 4, boy, girl, but I wish I would have had 8.
oh,
Wow.
okay.
Kids are fun. I mean, our kids are amazing. I mean, you know, they're so much fun. You know, so I enjoy kids, and so I would. That's about the only thing I would change now is to make sure we should have not stopped. We should have had more kids. Yeah.
Nice.
How do you push through your worst times?
How do you? What is that again?
How do you push through your worst times?
Like work times, you know, in business, you mean, you know, so during tough times like pandemics, you know, financial crisis in 08, 9, and 10, you know, I look at those worst times as opportunities, right? In that you can meet more people, reinvent a new product, because you got to remember, whenever there is during the worst times, everybody's experiencing that. It's not like it's just happening to me. Everybody's going through the same thing. So I look at it as an opportunity to come up with a product, a service, some sort of a solution to help everybody with it. Right? So imagine, can you imagine if we did not have Zoom during 08, 9, and I mean, we didn't have Zoom during the pandemic.
Wow.
Yes.
What would we have done? You know what I mean? Like, how can businesses have done things? You know what I mean? So Zoom came in almost at the perfect time where the whole world embraced Zoom. Nobody even knew Zoom. Yeah. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, what are we doing? They go, you got to use Zoom. You got to use Zoom. Another one that people use now is called Ring Central, right? Ring, R-I-N-G Central, right? Mm-hmm. Another one is called StreamYard, S-T-R-E-A-M, StreamYard. So those are, I would say, the top 3 virtual programs that people use. So I would say that, you know, during your worst times is to maybe like pivot, you know, adapt to the times, you know, change things up, you know, like we were actually on tour for the Think and Grow Rich movie and the Think and Grow Rich book. And so we were on tour 2018, 2019, and we were on tour 2020. One of the places we wanted to go was actually Romania. Okay. Oh. And yeah, that was supposed to be one of our tour stops. Now we can do something with you guys. Now that we've met you guys, we can do a tour stop in Romania and build a whole Think and Grow Rich thing around it. But yeah, we had to figure out what can we do differently. And then we used Zoom and everybody started, and we changed up our program, and we started selling everything on Zoom. So all that for us is that it goes back to your goals and your dreams and things like that. As long as you keep a focus on what it is that you want and how bad you want it, okay, then, you'll get it. When I was a kid in junior high school, I saw a girl, and she was in my school walking around. She was in none of my classes, but I saw her walking around. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's really cute. Like, she's so pretty. And so I was trying to figure out who her friends were. And I saw that she was hanging out with these girls, and these girls were in one of my classes. So I asked those friends if I can get that girl's phone number. And they started saying, ooh, like, et cetera, et cetera. And so one of the girls actually gave me her phone number, and now I had her phone number. Okay. Now my inside voice said to me, and when people say inside voice, who's that? It's the one that said, what inside voice? That's your inside voice. Okay. The inside voice said, oh man, if you call that girl, she's going to say, no, you're a loser. I already have a boyfriend. You're going to get rejected. That's what my inside voice said. But I also had a dream when I was in middle school and junior high. You know what my dream was? She's going to be my wife. Does that make sense? We're going to hold hands and walk on the beach. We're going to have this big wedding one day. We're going to have lots of kids. And I already thought of us getting married when I was in junior high with this girl. So when I came home, guess what? I picked up the phone and I called her. You remember this? Remember we used to dial phones like this?
Yes.
Yeah, I called her, right? And all my friends said, weren't you scared, John? Weren't you scared? And I said, I wasn't. They said, why not? Because my dreams were bigger than my fears.
Oh.
Wow.
So that's why when you're at the lowest point and you're going through some tough times, guess what? If your dreams are this big, doesn't matter. You'll still keep on going. You'll keep on going,
Yes.
So, yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
If you would have words microphone for a few minutes, what would you say to the world?
How many minutes do I have? 1 minute, 30 seconds?
3 minutes.
There are so many things I would say. And it all depends on, who the audience, because there's so many different people, so many different age groups, right? So many different personalities and all that. But here's the first thing I would say is that time is not running out, but your life is.
Wow.
Awesome.
Meaning that you need to have a sense of urgency. You cannot wait, okay, when the time is right. There's never a good time. When's the best time to have I hear people say, I'm not going to have any children. Why not? I'm not going to have children until I have millions of dollars. Oh, that's nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need millions of dollars to have happiness in your family. You know how many people I know have a lot of money, but they're miserable. And then there's other people, I go to these underdeveloped countries. I go to Nicaragua, and there's women and children doing laundry in the river, okay? And they're happy, and they got nothing. So I said, no, you cannot think that way. No, you got to have your baby right now. I had a friend of mine, he has a daughter, and she says, I'm not going to have any children. I said, why not? She says, because the world is such a crazy place right now.
Oh.
I mean, that, you know what that means? That she's allowed all the media and all the news to go into her head and program her head that the world is toxic. It's not. Look there's great people like you guys right? That are on a show like this. You want to help people. You want to bring value to people. You want to write a book. You want to impact people. Whatever you can do to help people. That's why we got to move now. Time is of the essence. So that's number one. Number two thing I tell everybody is that every person is a masterpiece, meaning that they are a piece of the master above.
Yes.
So how can you sit there and say, I don't think I'm good enough? You know, I'm not that great. I'm not pretty. I'm not that handsome. I'm not whatever. I'm fat. I'm skinny. I'm whatever. When God is the one, I'm not here to preach, but we have to ask ourselves, where do we all come from? Where did the first man and woman come from? You know, there has to be a higher somebody. That means it's God. That means God created. You have his DNA. Therefore, you have greatness.
Yes.
Yes.
You don't need your best friend's approval. You don't need your cousin's approval. You have God's approval and you have his endorsement.
Brilliant.
Awesome. How did you extend or expand your paradigms or belief to achieve or to fulfill your dreams?
How did I change my paradigm with my belief system?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Well, so I think that a lot of that has to do with, you know, I say, do you think you could become a millionaire? And they say, no, I can't be a millionaire, John. I go, why not? Because our family is poor. We grew up in the poor area of the town, or my dad is poor. My mom is, you know, this and that. She's a waitress or what, you know. So here's what I tell people. That you have bought into your BS. What does that stand for?
I don't understand.
See, a lot of people will say that they bought into their BS, meaning their bullshit, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But for me, it's not bullshit. BS stands for your belief system up here. So I have always believed, have you ever heard the term people say, you have to fake it until you make it? Have you heard that before?
Yes.
You have to fake it. Okay. So don't fake it until you make it, but I want you to faith it until you make it. Faith it. And if you have faith and belief, you're going to get there. Like I always knew that we would be wealthy. I always knew that. Like I always imagined that. I had my wife and I, we created a big board, a big cardboard. Okay. We went to the store, we bought this cardboard, we cut out of magazines and stuff, pictures of how our house is going to look, right? What kind of cars we're going to have, you know, and we divided it up onto the thing and we had a visual of what our life would look like.
Yes.
And you know what's crazy? All that stuff happened.
Wow.
Wow.
Nothing we have today in our life is not something we put down on that big old board. So I call this the dream board, the dream board. If you could have that ideal situation of what your life would look like, what would it look like? Put it on a board. Show me what it's going to look like. And I'll tell you what, most people don't even know.
Yeah.
You know, I asked somebody, I said, what do you want in life? And you know what the girl said? She goes, money. I go, okay, nothing wrong with that. I go, how much? And she goes, a lot. And I go, okay, what's a lot? And she goes, millions. And I go, be more specific. She goes, 5 million? I said, okay. So you want to have $5 million? She goes, yes. Great. What are you going to do with that money? She goes, I want to buy a car.
Wow.
Oh, okay. What else? She goes, I want to buy a house. I said, okay. How big? She goes, 5,000 square feet. I said, okay. How many bedrooms? She goes, I don't know. I go, you don't even know how many bedrooms she wants? She goes, no, like 4, 5, 6. I go, are you asking me or are you telling me? And she goes, okay, 5. I go, okay, how many bathrooms? She goes, 5. I go, you don't want a bedroom for your guests to go to, like a powder bathroom? She goes, oh, okay, 6. And I go, you don't want a one bathroom in the backyard for your pool, so when they come out of the pool, they can go into the bathroom? She goes, oh yeah, 7. You know, so she didn't even know what she wanted. See, I had to explain to her what kind of house that she wanted to buy. And I said, what else? So far you wanted $5 million a year, but so far you just told me you wanted a car and a big house. I don't think you need that much money for that. She goes, well, I need an assistant. I was like, okay, well, how much does that cost, right? I want a chef. We can do that. Okay, what else? I go, I want a boat. I was like, all right, a yacht. Okay. I want to take care of my mom and my dad. And I said, okay. So we did all that. And then by the time it was all said and done, you know how much she needed? 500 grand. So everything she wanted only required 500, but she needs 5 million. So I don't think people really understand what they want in life. So for us, I think our paradigm shifted when we knew exactly what we wanted and what it was going to cost us.
Yes, amazing.
Yes. Amazing.
How can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at John Shin Official. I also have a Facebook account, John Shin, and they can email me as well. And my email is John Shin, JOHNSHIN CEO @gmail.
Thank you for giving us this wonderful interview. And thank you.
You're very welcome. Good luck on everything you guys are doing. And then let's visit and talk about doing an event in Romania.
Wow,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, we can do a big hotel and, you know, get 500 people, 1,000 people in the hotel, and we can bring a lot. I can bring my friend Sharon Lecter, who is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Have you heard of Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Yes.
Yeah, her name is Sharon Lecter. She wrote the book with Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.